It's DHA's Reconnect with Rockers. I am connecting with somebody for the first time, and I feel like in the short times that we've chatted, that I've known you forever, it's Ben Bruce, founding member and guitarist from Asking Alexandria. First of all, welcome. I didn't realize you'd mentioned too you had lived in Jersey for a short time, so you're like a total Jersey brother with the coolest accent ever.
I lived in Jersey for a long time. I moved to New Jersey when I was like 19 years old. I left England and moved to New Jersey when I was 19, and I lived there until I was like, oh my gosh, like 26.
I don't usually hear from people too, like, I left England, I left the UK and moved to New Jersey. There's usually like, you know, places they go before they end up in New Jersey. So, oh, that's super, super awesome. Super cool. So yeah, so you're a Jersey brother. That's why me and you, like, we like connected immediately.
I know. And you know what's, it's so annoying too, because I feel like I have to defend Jersey because I'm fond of it. I had great years there. So people are like, oh, Jersey Shore. I'm like, hey, you listen, it's nothing like what they show on the television. Like I used to go and drink on the Jersey Shore on the boardwalk all the time. And I was like, this stupid behavior didn't happen. And I feel like I have to defend Jersey from everyone. It's weird. Everyone has this weird misconception about Jersey, but it's like, I think like when people say New York, they think New York City. They don't think New York State.
Right.
And when people say Jersey, they think of just that show, the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, they think of Snooki. Yeah. Well, welcome to my world.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and I have a house, you know, right at the Jersey Shore in Lavallette, and it's the same thing. I always tell people our beaches are gorgeous. They're beautiful. Got the white, soft, amazing sand, and it's just so cool. You know, such the place to be. So yeah, I knew there was a connection. I knew there was some connection between you and me. Plus, we talked about dogs, but that's a whole other situation. I want to talk about new music, Like a House on Fire. Great new record from you guys. I still love that, like 14 years after the fact, people look at Asking Alexandria as a brand new band. And I think that's such a great thing. It's an organic journey. It's a journey that you've picked up fans along the way. It's because you're a hardworking band. Does that still flip you out? Does it feel like 14 years? Does it feel like 40 years? Or does it feel like 4 years?
It honestly, for the reason you just said, it feels like we're still a brand new band because people just seem to keep rediscovering us or discovering us for the first time, which, like you said, I think that's such a good thing because it can be such a hard career path to take. I mean, it is a really hard career path, but especially if you've been going for as long as we have, it can get really old and it can get really boring. And there's so many new artists that can come up and just sort of take your place. So it's really cool that people keep just discovering us. And I think that's due to the fact that we change with every single album. Like we're not afraid to just go, oh, well, let's try this on this album. And, you know, I think sometimes people are like, oh, this doesn't sound like Asking Alexandria. And then I'm like, well, what does Asking Alexandria sound like to you? Because to this person, it sounds like this. To me, it sounds like this. To this person, it sounds like this. And I think that's why we've been able to just keep sort of growing and winning over new fans over the years. It's really, really cool.
Well, I like to call it almost like for a band and for your band, it's kind of like a sonic journey. You know, we have somebody who works at our station, Mike. He's a huge, Mike Bufus, huge fan of the band. And said, oh my God, you're talking to Ben? Is that today? I said, yeah. He's like, oh, you got to ask him this. You got to ask him this. But, you know, everybody wants to talk about that sonic journey from the first record to the 6th record, you know, how different you guys have sounded. I think that's also something that's very, I think there's two things. I think it's, you know, warranted, and I think it's very brave. I think that's a very brave thing for a band to do, especially when you got a big fan base and you're getting asked to go out on tours from the beginning. And then you say, you know what, but we want to make a record that goes this way this time. And the next time we're looking to go that way. I don't think that those are decisions that you set out to do either. I think it just sort of ends up that way.
Yeah. And I think I think I started writing music when I was like 3 or 4 on my grandma's piano. I've always just had a deep love and connection with writing music. So I've never actually learned many other artists' songs. Like I could play Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. You know, I can play the songs, but I haven't really spent a lot of time learning songs. And I think that's the difference. I never started this band to be in a band. Like, I want to be a band guy. That was never my thing. I started this band because I have a deep love for writing music. I love rock. I love blues. I love hip hop and pop. I love classical music. I love it all. And so that's why I think every album sounds different, because I've never I never started this band to be a famous rock musician, you know. And so I don't go into the studio and go, well, I have to write a record that sounds like this to continue my journey. I just go into the studio and I'm like, oh, I like the sound of this and I'm going to play it. And then hopefully other people enjoy it too. But if they don't, at least I do. And that's just always kind of been my mindset. And I think it's worked well for this band. And it just so happens that people seem to like it. A lot of people get quite annoyed when we change, but they always come round. They always go, actually, this is pretty good.
Yeah, and you're not the only band that has that issue. You know, people, I'll look at something in the band and people say, oh, what happened to them from this record to that record? You know, people get very afraid when a band doesn't make the same record a lot. Well, you guys said something, I love this. I saw an old interview with you a while back, and I thought you guys so got it, because you said some very kind things about radio, which is something else that I'm always defending. You know, when I say to people, you know, 97% of our audience, you know, discovers new music on the radio, on the terrestrial radio, and they love that. New music discovery is a very important part of our station. We still play a Hendrix record. We still play an Asking Alexandria record. And you, I don't know who it was in the band, but they said, you know, radio is such an important medium, and it's because a lot of the bands sound the same that, you know, people diss radio, but, you know, radio's still breaking a lot of great new artists. And that always struck me that it was, you know, a member of Asking Alexandria that said it, and I love it. And I thought, you know what, these guys really get it.
Yeah, and you know, the cool thing I've noticed about radio in the States compared to anywhere else in the world, at the risk of being barred from radio everywhere else in the world, American, like, rock radio, it's a thing. Like, it's a legit thing. Like in England where we're from, it's like, oh, you have some stations that dabble in rock, but here it's like one big family. And it's crazy. Like, we've gone and done, obviously we do loads of acoustic radio performances for different stations around the country, but I can't, and forgive me because I can't remember what it's called. It's the first time we did it. We went to Vegas a few months ago before all of this happened, and it was a big
the
radio
Happens Festival.
Yeah.
I was going to go to that, but I'm like a hypochondriac. I'll just put it right out there. So the whole COVID thing was going on, and I was invited to go to that. And I said, you know what? There's this virus, and I'm not friggin' flying. And everyone's like, you're crazy. But you guys were at the Happens Festival. I remember that.
Yeah, and I just noticed that all the different DJs and high ups and everyone from active rock radio world was there, and everyone was talking and everyone was drinking, and every conversation that I heard or was part of was about music. And there was just this deep love and mutual love and respect for rock music. And I was like, this is insane. No other country, I mean, I told the world, no other country has that. Nowhere else has that but the United States of America with rock radio. And it's such a cool thing. And that's why we're so proud to just be part of it. And it's taken us a really long time. It's taken us like 10 years to sort of knock on everyone's doors and be like, hey, like, we want to be part of this family. And I think because when we were young, we sounded a certain way. It's taken a little bit of time, which I think is great too. You know, you don't want to just be handed the keys to a kingdom and run rampant. You know, I think we've worked really hard to sort of be accepted into this family, and now I feel like we truly have been, and it's really cool and it's really awesome, and it's nice to be able to be part of it. Everywhere else it's kind of like, oh, they've played your song on the radio. Well, which one? I don't know, BBC. It was next to Beyonce. It was cool, and I was like, oh, but this is right. This is rock radio, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Well, this is why we created this Reconnect with Rockers feature too, because when everybody went in lockdown, we had all these shows and the summer concert season, and that's a big time for everybody who loves rock in the States, and people are going to all these different festivals. You guys played so many festivals, and our listeners came to us and said, so how are we going to connect with people? How are we going to know what people are doing? We've always been a station where we've had tons of bands in, and we do listener acoustic things for lunch and put you in a club and a big stadium show. So people were kind of freaked out that they would not get the opportunity to connect with somebody. We've had everybody on this feature. We've had Gavin Rossdale on this feature, and Joe Satriani on this feature, and Tom Kiefer from Cinderella on this feature, and you, Ben Bruce, on this feature, because our listeners feel that sense of community with artists. And we know when we're going through a real stressful, crappy ass time, your music, your artists, and a way of life that you've loved is a thing that kind of powers you through. So we figured we'd get our rockers, we'd connect with them. And that's why I'm so happy. that you had the time to be able to do this for us and WDHA listeners. You know what else I was reading about you? Some of your great influences on guitar kind of surprised me, especially the incredible, amazing Gary Moore. You're a Gary Moore fan.
I'm a massive Gary Moore fan. I've got a beautiful picture of him. You won't be able to see it hanging up on the wall behind
Wow.
me. He's probably, if I had to pick an all-time favorite guitarist, it'd probably be Gary Moore. And it's not even just his playing. Like, his playing is absolutely superb. It's next level. As soon as he plays guitar, it's like, I know that's Gary Moore. But have you ever watched him play? Obviously, he's dead now, but you can go back and watch YouTube videos. Watch his face when he's playing guitar.
He makes me want to cry. When I watch Gary Moore play the guitar, and then when I hear his playing and his bending and everything, it literally, like, it jars your soul. I know you said you're a Clapton fan too, very similar with that emotion, but Gary Moore stuck out to me because I was like, he's a big Gary Moore fan. We still have listeners that are always requesting Gary Moore songs. We had somebody
That's so cool.
this past Friday.
When I was at school, I went to college for music, and one of my performance pieces that I had to prepare, I played. I was like, so we do different things in a different order in England. So I was about 16 when I went to what we call college, and we had to prepare. Maybe I was a bit younger. We had to prepare a performance piece, and I played "Still Got the Blues" by Gary Moore, and no one knew who he was or what I was playing. And I was like, man, you guys are missing out.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say, even just this past Friday, I had somebody call, the show in the All Request Lunch Hour, and we got to do Gary Moore, Still Got the Blues. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
That's the best.
I
got a crazy story about Gary Moore too, actually. We were in, I can't remember what year, it was a very long time ago. We were young. We were in Spain, I believe. And we had just played a show, and we got to the hotel, and we got told that Gary Moore was staying in the hotel next door. And I was like, oh my God, Gary Moore's in the hotel next door. And everyone was like, go find him. I'm like, I'm going to go to the hotel and be like, hey, can I get Gary Moore's room, please? I'm here for Mr. Moore. I was like, no, I can't do that. This is stupid. And I stayed up the whole night like, man, he's like right over there. And then we left the next day, and I didn't think anything more of it. And then I found out later that apparently that's the night he died. And now I'm always like, oh my God, what if I had gone and knocked on his door? Maybe would he still be alive? Like, it's a weird thing that always plays in my mind now. I'm sure. I mean, you don't know, do you? It's that butterfly effect thing. If I'd maybe not, you never know.
One different move. Absolutely. Wow. That's pretty incredible. Hey, let's talk about the single too, Anti-Socialist.
Oh yeah, we have a band. I forgot.
No. This is great. I just feel like the only thing that's missing with you and me is a drink. I feel like we're just. I have. You know what I have actually, but mine's got water in it. You probably can't see it. My David Bowie glass. I got my David Bowie glass with a little bit of Wawa.
That's the coolest wine glass. So I don't drink liquor anymore. I only drink wine, and that is the coolest wine glass I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, it's my thin, my Thin White Duke tribute. Got to do a little Bowie tribute when I'm having a little vino.
That's amazing. I posted a picture of me and my. Actually, it was before my now son was born. I posted a picture of me wearing my David Bowie t-shirt, and I had a tiny onesie with David Bowie on the front. I was like, I can't wait for my son to wear this. That's so cool.
Love. I'm like Bowie Central here. Forget it. I mean, everything is like Bowie. But the new single is like nothing else people have heard. People are just like, that's Asking Alexandria. There's such a good, just a great melody, such a great vibe, such a great sing-along, sort of a battle cry, So talk to me a little bit about this tune.
Well, basically, when we made the tune, so I got to write this record. I'm the primary songwriter in the band, and I got to write this record in a different way than I've ever done it before. Normally, you get told, you go into the studio and you've got a month, 2 months, you write the record, you record it, done. This time I was like, no, I don't want to do it that way. We had all these arena tours lined up with like Shinedown and Papa Roach. And I was like, I want to take advantage of this. And so we would go and we play these shows in front of like 10,000 people a night. And I'd be like, okay, what parts of our set, what parts of Shinedown set, what parts of Papa Roach's set are the best? What are the best parts of the set? When is everyone jumping up and down together? When is everyone singing together? When is everyone crying? When is everyone laughing? And every time we did like a few weeks on the road, I would bottle all that energy up, all those best parts. And I'd go back to the studio and be like, I need to recreate that feeling I felt on stage. And and put it into my music, and then I'd go back on tour and like refuel all that energy, and I go back to the studio. And so Antisocialist is one of those ones where one of the highlights I think of our set every night was the bridge in Alone in a Room, which is from our previous album. Every night without fail, 10,000 people, hands in the air, just jumping up and down. I was like, that's some energy I want to capture. And so musically, that's kind of where that song came from. Just a sea of people bouncing up and down. I was like, how do we make that happen every night? Because that's unreal. And then as far as the lyrics go, everyone likes to get real deep with songs, which, you know, me too as a songwriter, and Danny too, he's a very clever lyricist. But sometimes I remember growing up and it was like, all right, some of my favorite songs were like Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff, or even at the time Slipknot's People Equal Shit. It's like, these songs don't have a hidden message. They're plain and simple. They're saying what they mean, and that's that. And I was like, man, it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be a kid that's just been born and you can't communicate that you're hungry. So you get frustrated and you scream and you cry. Or you could be a kid at school and you have a dream and your teacher doesn't understand that dream and is like coaxing you into becoming, you know, a doctor or something you don't want to be. And that's frustrating and upsetting. Or you grow up and you go to work and your boss is chewing you out because you're late for work and you're not even in a job that you love. And I just was like, there's so much stress and pressure in the world, and everyone driving, you can see everyone that's driving is swearing at each other and just angry. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a big thing that everyone goes through. And I know for a fact, people wake up and they walk into work and all they want to say is, fuck you. I don't want to be here. And kids go to school and they just go, fuck you. I don't want, but you can't. You can't say that. There's, you know, you'll be fired from your job. You'll be expelled from school. So you'll get in trouble with your parents. But we can say it. We can say it for you, and you can listen to it and sing it through us, and that's okay. So the whole point of that song was literally no hidden meaning, just a big middle finger to the world, really, that stresses us all out.
Yeah, and you can hear it, you can feel it, you can definitely feel it. It's the battle cry. And you know what else I wanted to bring up to you? Last time I saw you guys, every rock band is looking to bring in, the whole big thing is like, we want to connect with a younger audience. We want to connect with a younger audience. We want to connect with a younger audience. I knew you guys always had a younger audience. I think the last time I saw you was on the What's Out with Papa Roach. I was surprised at how many people in the crowd that were singing your songs and so into Asking Alexandria were a little bit older.
That's purposeful. Like we've done the opposite. Everyone's like, we need the younger fans, like you said. And we're like, no. We want the older fans. Yes. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, there's a few reasons. One, they fucking lived through rock and roll. This isn't a new thing to them. They live, breathe, and eat rock and roll. And it's the same thing as what I was saying about radio. The older generations, like, they love that's it. Rock and roll, rock is their music, their life. Young people don't know what the fuck they want. They wake up one day and they're like, I love this band. 2 weeks down the line, they love a completely different genre of music and they go in a rave. They don't know what the fuck they want. I'm like, that's crazy. You know, we have a lot of young fans, which is cool, which is great. You know, we would never not want to encourage people to listen to our band, but the older fan base, that you can see it at shows too, like, they love it. I love seeing a family come. I love seeing like a 40-year-old, 45-year-old, 50-year-old man, and he's got his teenager with him, and they're just having the time of their life. And I'm like, that's what I want. That's what I want. I don't want to just go and play in front of kids. I want to play in front of families, and I think it's the coolest thing ever. Or you see even like a 35-year-old man with his new kid on his shoulders, just introducing the kid to rock and roll. I'm like, that's what I want. And so we did the opposite. We were like, we want to try and win over the older fans. We want to try and win over the families. You know, I'm a family man. I've got 3 kids, and I can't wait to go to more shows with my kids. And that was our goal. It was like, I want to see a sea of families in the crowd, just having the best time of their life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that, and it blew my doors off. Ben, it's such a pleasure hanging out with you, man. I feel like we were just hanging out, you know, having a drink without a drink, and talking music and talking about Gary Moore and new great music from Asking Alexandria. I cannot wait to see you guys in person too, when Rockdown ends and everybody's out touring again and stuff. You guys have to come by the station. You're a Jersey guy. You know,
Yes,
gotta
I'm
come by.
into it. I'll bring my guitar. I'll play you a terrible song.
Please, and hang out. Ben Bruce from Asking Alexandria. Thank you so much for being on Reconnect with Rockers with me. I've loved every moment of it. And of course, the new record, Like a House on Fire.
That's all right too, yeah. Thank you.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Advantage Contracting and by Karis Lock Company.